liberty, and justice for all.
The school board will convene to executive session tonight to consider the employment promotion evaluation data over any public employee for which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility under Wisconsin statute 19.85(1), considering high school math teacher, special education aide cook, school psychologist contract, and part-time middle school cross-country coach. And superintendent mid-year evaluation in closed session. We don't have any guests to speak? Okay. Is there any one wish items removed from the consent agenda? There are none, and that's approved by consent with donations from the Door Hunt Triathlon for Destination Imagination of $500 and the Door County Tavern League of $500 for girls basketball. We'll start with administrator reports. Mr. Hills.
Thank you very much. At your places, you should find a pencil. Here at the beginning of the meeting, that's just one of the things that will be coming out from the 100th anniversary celebration. So the students will be getting those at the beginning of the school year. And, as I said, there will be other things that are coming, but just wanted to give you an advance copy of those. In addition to that, from our report, we had substitute in service today, and I just would like to run through some numbers. You should have a sheet at your places. It just breaks things down. The number of people who attended, there were 17 total this morning, 2 aides and 15 teachers. There were a number, about the same number, who couldn't make it. They RSVP'd that they had other things going on today. There were about 16 that we did not hear back from. We sent letters out requesting that they join us for free breakfast this morning and then the in-service time. So we will reach back out to those people through other means just to see if they still intend on subbing for us and if they just happen to have something going on and misplaced the letter or got busy. In total, we had about 45 people who were invited, and that number is using the sheet that we had from last year, the subs that we used. We did have 4 new subs that joined us, 3 in person. There was 1 who couldn't make it today. Last year we had a total of 23 people, so we're down 6 from last year. But again, this is relatively consistent with last year's list. And I know there are some people on the list that didn't RSVP who are regular subs for us, so I suspected it was more an issue of just misplacing the letter than it was not planning anything like that.
Any questions for Mr. Hills? Mr. Schaefer.
I'm just going to talk a little bit about Character Strong. I'm excited about us implementing it in our second year. A couple of things with my notes that I just want to highlight is one of the biggest reasons I'm a big advocate for Character Strong is because they go through every year at the end of each season an improvement research and development process where, and I think any organization that does a tremendous job of listening shows great leadership and a great drive to improving the process. And they, through that process, they get a lot of feedback from schools and other organizations, and they put a team of people, of students and teachers and their staff people to put together a new program. And they've made many improvements going into this year that, quite frankly, I'm really excited about. They still have the traditional 35 lessons at the middle school, 25 at the high school, and I think the great thing for us this year is our middle school. Last year, we didn't have a built-in resource time, so they had to give up curriculum time at different hours every week that we did it. It was kind of a strain on the teachers, and a big thank you to them for adapting their schedules, but that was a lot to ask, and they did a really great job. Never, not one complaint, and then they adjusted that. But the problem is not having the continuity of that, the consistency, and I think that causes a little bit of a problem. So I'm really excited that we have a built-in resource this year for our middle school, so there'll be some consistency, same teacher, same class, same classmates, and I think that'll be really awesome. Along with that, though, there are some flexibility options, scope and sequence flexibility with the lessons, so we can make some adaptations as the year goes on. They have an improved character dare that leads to school-wide challenges. I love this because I think it gives us an opportunity to move to phase 2 in our cultural building and our school, and allowing some of our student leadership teams to really step up and help with these school-wide initiatives. School-wide being throughout, which everybody can be involved in. I think this is going to be really good. They've also increased the relevance for the students, and this is a huge one for me, because down in the middle I talk about now how do they increase relevance to these lessons. They're making lessons that are really applicable to what, not that they didn't before, but they're even more involved with real issues that students are dealing with today, having opportunities to talk about those things. But then one of my favorite, because I think our young people have to continually grow in the fact of finding value in themselves as people and not finding value in what others think, fear of failure, fear of judgment. Those are the two thieves that rob us all the time. And rising above that and internally finding their values. So with an increased relevance, this allows an opportunity to help our students understand this really important thing, that when we connect actions to our values, it adds meaning to our lives. What an incredible thing for young people to learn, to have a value system and your actions aligning it and giving them opportunities to do that. That's character growth. I think, and it's also always important to remember that the way people see our values is by how we act. And that's what Character Strong is leading to this year, and I think it's a tremendous cultural shift. And I'm really excited about, they have a section on here about, that they added, it's called to be versus to do. Kids always get asked as they're growing up, what do you want to be when you grow up, or what do you want to do when you grow up, and not what kind of person do you want to be. And once again, when you look at what Character Strong is helping our students identify as an internal value system, in identifying what type of man, what type of woman do they want to be as they go through life. I'm really excited about this year's Character Strong, and I'm excited about year 2 moving forward, because I think things always improve when you are sticking with the program. So I'm very excited about where this is going to go moving forward.
Questions for Mr. Schaefer?
How do kids today even know what values are?
How do they know?
What a value is?
I think that's where values come from, helping them identify what's important to them. I think it's important that great leaders, people that are influential in their life, their parents, their adult figures in their life, teachers, principal, whoever, can kind of help them discover what they truly value. It's not shaping all people to have exactly the same values. I think it's important to understand, I think everybody here in this room probably is, the trials and adversities of life, learning that adversities are great things in our life, and those are opportunities for us to grow. And I think we develop our values through our experiences and finding out what makes us successful.
I like the component with the student council, increasing the student responsibility and engagement in that process.
Any other questions for Mr. Schaefer? Mrs. Margraf is not with us tonight, but if you had questions for her, then you can direct them directly to her. Any questions on the athletic director's report or the gifted and talented report you want to direct to Mr. Litt? Then on those, we'll move on to that. So the superintendent's report.
In my report, I talked about new teacher orientation, which was yesterday and today. We have 4 new teachers. And like Mr. Hill said, we had substitute training today for the teachers. They're coming back in that role. They do pick up some new ones, which is good. Also, School Perceptions is preparing, and they met with Troy and I one day, and we're going to follow up, and we'll finish up with the staff the top 5 areas we scored in, and then the bottom 5, and then we're focused on those bottom 5 throughout the 23-24 school year. And don't forget, in service, August 28th, there's the breakfast at 7:40 on that first day.
Kyle, you asked me to remind you about the Hilton and the coffee for the convention.
Yeah, the convention is January 22nd, 20-something in there.
Yeah.
And the hotel rooms opened up today. Does anyone know what their plans are for January, if they're planning on attending or not? Chris will save 3 rooms today.
Yes, yes, I
So-
talked, or I,
At least it was a
Yeah.
start, yeah,
yes.
because we know they shut out quick.
Yes, absolutely. They opened at 8 this morning, and I'm sure they were filled before the end of the day, so,
Yeah, so she did reserve three for us.
yeah. And I am planning to attend.
Any questions for Mr. Licky on his report that he had?
Yeah, don't forget to focus on your top 5. Your top 5.
Okay.
I mean, you measure them too, they don't fall. You want them to stay high. So don't overlook anything.
All right, we'll look at the top 5, we'll take a look at the bottom 5, and we'll worry about the middle 2. So, yeah, we'll be all right.
You develop numeric measurements, how do you do this?
They gave us
Yeah,
the scores, and we'll go from there. We're good.
They give the schools how to do it.
No, not really. They say here are the areas to focus on. So we got some ideas already. We saw a couple common themes. So,
I don't have anything to report. Meeting was not anniversary, maybe?
policy met, but that'll be next month because it was just last week, Thursday. Athletic committee met last night as well, right?
Do you have something to report?
It was a good meeting, and we're more to come, I think, on future meetings.
Yeah, there'll be some
Things
things
more,
more
yeah.
in September, probably discussion.
Good. I guess there's not much to say about that except this.
Everyone got one, yeah.
It's coming together.
Lisa, do you need help on that day, or?
There are going to be some, I think, short comments in the front of the building as we did for the dedication. Joe McMahon, the former superintendent, Mike Madden and Heather Spetz, and Mr. Lippke.
Right.
That 100-year video that Madden put together of the old school is going to play in here.
Okay.
It's my
And
understanding.
Mighty Chapman helped with that too.
Yeah,
You should get credit too.
Mr. Hills is going to stand in here to kind of answer questions and just make sure the thing keeps moving. National Honor Society students, they're going to try to get them to do tours. If there aren't enough of them, maybe we'll have to tap into some staff to help do tours. And then out at the athletic field, Mr. Schaefer is heading up grilling. He's got one helper, maybe we can use some more, I don't know. He's headed up volunteers to work in the stand, like we need a half dozen people in the stand to hand food out. We need somebody to do the root beer and ice cream stand. So just kind of float around and look if there's an area you can pitch in or be around to help clean out. And Mr. Licky has his maintenance staff coming, but so if you just be here and visible and talk to people.
That's Labor Day.
Yeah,
If we need-
Labor Day at 1 o'clock, yep.
And if we need help, we might ask somebody to pitch in somewhere with something.
I would think people would jump in and help out.
Yeah, yeah.
They usually do.
Are you going to send the frustrated song?
Yeah, Mike Madden and I are going on WDOR
August 30th.
August 30th, and I've contacted the Peninsula Pulse already and Door County Daily News, so yeah, I'm assuming as the day gets closer, they'll.
Yeah, you should send someone to this TV station to be ready. Because they're always hungry for news, especially on Halloween morning. They have a crew up here at 7 o'clock in the morning. Interview.
Fox 11 is usually pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll send a press release out like a week ahead of time or something, when we know it's coming.
And this week, there's a banner for the highway. The first one had a box error, so they're sending us a new one. Budget report.
Budget report, well, is it today? We received the check, Carl?
Yeah.
We received a check for $3.3 million from the county for property taxes, which is part of the 22-23 budget, not this budget, that's always behind. And then tomorrow, Carl and I are meeting with Mike Clark from Baird to discuss our payment for the loan for the building. We've done well on interest and collecting, so we're going to try to decide if we're going to pay off the back end, which I think we will, and then blend, or maybe do a blend, and then work on determining the amount for the levy for this upcoming year as well. Yesterday, Baird sent the property values, and for our school district, the property increase was 20.7% to $2,390,000,000 compared to last year was $1,980,000,000. And the state average, I believe, was 12%. Was 12% the state average? I think so.
Just over 12%.
Yeah, so this will help our mill rate drop because you can't increase your value by 20% and not have a mill rate drop. So that's a good thing.
Anything else on the budget?
Anything else, Carl, that's of interest?
Not really, just like Kyle said, we got our final property tax payment, and $2 million, just over $2 million goes to Fund 10, and $1.2 million goes to Fund 39 for debt. And once we get that money over to ADM, then like we talked to Mike tomorrow, see if we're going to put all that into an escrow account for defeasance, pay off the back end. Right now, as it stands, if we take everything we have, just what we have available, we will pay off our debt about 4.5 to 5 years early, saving ourselves a lot of interest. And then, like Mr. Lickey said, with our mill rate, we got to figure out if we're going to, levy more towards that, because we can't levy more towards Fund 10, but we can increase for Fund 39 and get more money and maybe pay more out the front, or how are we going to work that? And that's what Mike will help us with there tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Anything on the facilities?
The installers, the air conditioner, have been here the last couple of weeks and they're working on it. They fully claim it's their install that's the problem, so you can feel it's warmer in here tonight, so they're working on it. The sign out front, WPS has put in the first part piece to the sign thing out there. Now the sign gentleman's got to coordinate with WPS because the exact location where the box is going to go is important from where the sign is. No news on the greenhouse. I've reached out to Myron multiple times, so I figured we'll keep using it because it's our 3rd year. And I think you guys did some work with the wood chips out back.
Yeah, well, we're re-establishing the nature trail back to the school. And as soon as the giant trees that fell on top of it during the last storm.
The storm that was 2 Thursdays ago.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that it wasn't damaged to the press box or anything like that, because these are some huge trees that just got blown right over.
Everything blew from north to south, so it fell the right direction for us. And these big trees are rotten and hollow on the
Are
inside.
they ash trees?
No,
No?
Maples, yeah, they're pretty big.
they're big and they're rotten on the inside.
Some of them are, yeah. So, yeah, we'll have I think we'll have that trail reestablished within a couple of weeks. And we'll take it from there. I mean, we have the workout stations that are still out there yet. Cassie Civic and Miller have put it in place, and Mike goes back. So, yeah, I think it'll shape up pretty nicely.
Great.
Just to follow up, I mean, and I don't want to talk about just, does that drive like some type of a safety tree assessment? If they're rotten from the inside, maybe we should talk about planning to take them down before they come down uncontrolled. Trees are.
Yeah, I'm not, do you know who you'd contact to find out if a tree is, I don't know.
Arborists?
And we did have quite a storm that day, so it did take quite a storm to knock them down, but they did come down.
Andy Hartman is very good with trees, I know.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult unless you really see the tree is, in decline or dying. So, I mean, when we go through the trail, we'll make sure that there's nothing.
When you and Mike Madden walked the...
Yeah,
Those two
nothing
probably
pending.
identified
Yeah, but I think it'll
trees
be
that are
nice.
here.
It'll be a nice experience for schools.
One other thing for facilities, we will be moving back into the district office tomorrow. So as of next week, if you want to come see us, we'll be back in our office.
We'll be home, yeah.
We'll be back home for good.
And we had our hopes up because they said they're putting the countertops in today, and we can move in when those were in. So we're like, okay, the guy will be here at 7, and we'll start moving at 10. Well, when I went and visited him this morning, he said, well, I'll get there about 5 or 6 tonight. And I said, really? He goes, well, maybe 4 o'clock. It's like, okay, we're on till tomorrow. I should have asked this follow-up question, like how many hours would it take today? But yeah, so we were all excited about it, but it's okay.
Great. I don't have any report goals, but Sue did have some notes in her report about things the school board can look at when it talks about the board goals. So maybe when school perceptions identifies those 5 key areas, there might be something that applies to the school board that we would add to ourselves as a goal. We'll remember that at that time. Legislative update. To talk about.
I had a few things, I think, in my report. Other than that, I didn't have anything. Title IX regulations, the new ones are expected to be released this fall. That's really about all I have at this point.
We need a motion to accept the resignation of Kyle Schleiss, high school math teacher.
Move to approve the resignation of Kyle Schleiss, high school math teacher.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to accept the resignation of Melissa Rainier as aide.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Melissa Rainier as aide.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion on the request for time off for Katie Hughes and MLA.
Move to approve the request for time off of Kate Hewens.
I'll second.
Katie lists out how she's used her sick days. She may work with Carl to save a couple because she has multiple kids and someone may get sick after she returns, so she may not want to use them all. And I talked to her about it, I emailed her back and forth, and so I said, come in to work with Carl, and the exact date of birth, you never know, so.
And you're okay with her
Yes.
how she's doing it?
Yeah, that's good.
Anything else? If there's nothing else, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The intent to retire of Michelle Orthenberg in aid in 2026.
I would move to approve the intent to retire for Michelle Orthenberg, aide for June 2026.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Ron Frank, teacher in June of 2025.
Move to accept the retirement of Ron Frank, teacher, for June 2025.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then we have the approval of the milk bids.
We only have one milk bid. Two companies sent us back letters of non-interest, and the other companies we never heard back from. So we have one milk bid bill.
Is this a new company for us? Because I always
No.
thought we had brothers.
No, we've had Prairie Farms for a couple of years
We have.
now.
So is there a motion on that?
I make a motion to approve the 2023-2024 milk bid from Prairie Farm Dairy.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. seclusion and restraint report. Did administrators have a comment on that, or it's just?
We can't discuss it too much because the students are easily identifiable by the numbers we have, which is a good thing.
I would make a motion to approve the seclusion and restraint report.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then we have the Town of Sevastopol memorandum of agreement on the town park property.
Well, we did talk about that a little bit, I guess, in the athletic committee. But I think, and that's why we're doing additional work and to work with the town to kind of go through a lot of that. So I think right here, part of the discussion is the recommendation is not to sign that agreement today, but we're digging in because we want to evaluate what some of the agreements were, are those agreements working out?
What went well, what didn't?
Yeah.
So you're anticipating Dave coming back?
Yes, ma'am. And,
Something
right.
else. So is this something the town sent us?
No, this agreement we worked on together.
Right.
And
Okay.
every
I think
August. it'll come
originally
up.
it was like a repetitive
Okay.
yearly thing.
It's kind of a yearly, well, I
Right.
think, in fact, it's a yearly thing, and if, it basically can just go on if everyone is happy, but you have the opportunity if you want to revisit it. And I think that's some of the homework we started talking about last night, and what you said is what went well, and what could be improved, or we want to talk about if there's an option for improvement. So I think that's what we're doing, is digging through that. There'll be a meeting with the town, so the town knows, and then we will come back here
Okay.
with a recommendation on how that goes.
Will it be September or later, or you'll let us know what month you want?
We're open
September.
We met last night, we couldn't have anything on the meeting tonight, obviously.
Yeah.
Without notice, so.
This was our agreement. This was the past year's agreement, and now you're about, okay, got it. Thank you.
So that would be our recommendation.
So no action is being taken.
We're tabling it.
Action, right.
Well, I just want to say the number that represented here, is this the first year this number?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what the town projected?
This is when our athletic committee met with the town's park committee and came up with this agreement at $10,000. That's what we worked on it together, and I think it's been more than a year because
We've been working maybe.
I remember I think the meeting we discussed it, we were in the old multi-purpose room. So it's been going on for a little
Just
bit.
a quick reminder, if it's worth since you asked, is remember there's been a lot of work by, Brooke and her sporting team, and the athletic committee, and many people, and the town park board has been working with us, and they projected like some improvements to look at. So that's where we got to that number, because they needed some improvements and stuff. And now with the $10,000 number, we just want to make sure that's still the right number, and goods and bads are all.
And what exactly are we getting for
What are we
for that
getting?
money, and where that's actually going to?
There.
And if that number needs to be adjusted up or down based on what we're getting.
So we're going to comb our agreement.
Okay.
Well, didn't go so well.
I know there were some issues in the spring last year of field not being ready that potentially could have been avoided, maybe some times where field prep wasn't being a main priority, so we're just working through some things.
I think the difficulty is the town doesn't have workers in the spring
Right.
because we sit in our math class. But,
Well, and that's the challenge, is I think, let's assess what those challenges are, and are we putting the right fix in place? You know, maybe there's other options, we don't know, that's just to start the dialogue there.
So we will, no action on that. It brings it back to us. Sue today has served as the Region 3 Wisconsin Association, as a director for the Wisconsin Association of School Boards, and wishes to continue in that position and would run again, so we need to nominate her.
So moved.
How would you write that motion, Carl?
Motion by Mr. Warwick with a second to nominate Mrs. Today as the WASB Region 3 Board of Director.
Second by Keith.
Keith seconded. Any questions or discussion?
Thank you, Sue.
Good luck.
Yes, this will be the last time that I can run because we do have term limits of 3 terms. So I've been on for 2 terms now, plus a little more. I filled Mike Fletcher's the remainder of his term, but this will be my last opportunity to run.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And I have a document for you to sign, Lisa, after
I
the meeting.
saw that in the packet. Looks like you maybe have it filled out.
What's that?
You all have it all filled out?
Yeah.
I saw it in the packet, and it was blank.
Well, let's get it signed
Okay.
tonight.
Yes, right, yeah.
That would conclude our regular business. Is there a motion for us to convene to executive session?
Move to convene to executive session.
Second,
Roll call vote. Keith?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried at 7:31 PM. Okay, we would look for a motion on the high school math teacher.
I would move to approve Fred Succi as the high school math teacher.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion on the special education aid.
Move to approve Ashley Moss for the full-time special education associate.
Second,
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion on the cook position.
That's Lynn Durkins. We'll go from dishwasher to cook.
I'll make a motion to approve Linda Durkis from dishwasher to cook.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the school psychologist contract.
I would move to approve the school psychologist contract as presented.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then the motion on the middle school part-time cross-country
Tim
coach.
Newton.
I make a motion to approve the hiring of Tim Newton as the part-time cross-country.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Our next meeting is September 20th. If there's no other business, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second,
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried at 8:20 PM.